Tom, I'm so glad you wrote this piece because I've been fascinated by North Carolina state politics for a while, right? The supermajority was just one vote, and it was somebody who switched parties from the Democrats to the Republicans. And then you have the governor who won a pretty gave a pretty resounding defeat to the Republican. What's your sense of how North Carolinians are responding to this? You know, we've seen in the past there a lot of anger in the electorate in North Carolina when the legislature sort of rejects the will of the people. Similar stuff happened in Ohio, right? Just to make this other, state analogy of trying to sort of subvert the will of the people through these extra, these efforts. What's your sense of how the people are responding? It's their governor. They voted for him pretty overwhelmingly.
Well, good question, because North Carolina is really very instructive in terms of looking at really what went on in this election. Margin in North Carolina from 2020. He won in the state in 2020 by 1%, increased it by 3%. But in the statewide elections, as you mentioned, the Democrats swept. They won big, the governor's race, the lieutenant governor's race, the secretary of state race, the Department of Education race. And so it's very hard to conclude that a swing state like that, there was something fundamentally wrong with the Democratic brand as opposed to weakness in the Harris candidacy that really was responsible for Trump being able to increase his margin. The second thing that's really instructive about North Carolina, and I think in terms of people being up in arms, the House, as we know, has a very slim Republican margin after the election, 220 to 215, meaning 3 votes swinging would have made Hakeem Jeffries Speaker. The North Carolina congressional delegation going in to this election was 7-7, recognizing the fact that it is a very 50-50 kind of state. With an extreme gerrymandering effort, the Republican legislature turned that delegation after the 2024 election into 10 Republicans, 4 Democrats, with that 6-vote margin totally swinging the House of Representatives. Not that gerrymandering has impact in other states, but this was an extreme gerrymander really upheld by the North Carolina courts, and that's just why they stripped the governor of the right to appoint. And I think we will see some real agitation among North Carolinians, given just how impactful that has been now on national politics.